Hello, gamers and gamettes. Guess what? I'm an Xbox. Guess what? You're an Xbox. Guess what? Your mom's an Xbox. Also, did you know? Your dad's an Xbox. Do you want to know what's not an Xbox, though? Today's sponsor, Little Nightmares 3, and by the way, enjoy the gameplay in the background. Little Nightmares 3 is an atmospheric adventure game in which you follow the journey of Lo and Alone, two best friends in a search for a way out of the nowhere. And two players online or solo with an AI work together to solve puzzles and survive in this nightmarish world. Little Nightmares 3 is available right now on PlayStation, PC, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and guess what? Xbox. And special thank you to Bandai Namco for sponsoring today's video. What is going on, guys? Welcome back. And in today's video, I want to talk to y'all about Xbox, the Xbox ecosystem, and Xbox Game Pass. I'm not going to lie, I'm focusing this video, I'm trying to focus it on Game Pass, but I'm in a bit of a ranty mood, so we might just go more so Xbox-ish in general. I don't know. We'll see where this video goes. However, if you want to stay up to date on all things Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, anything, console and console MMORPG related, which is what I usually cover, make sure you are liking today's video and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And let's go ahead and get right on into it. So, the good old Xbox brand. I made a video on Xbox earlier this year. I got some props. There were some people, who laid me out in the comments, a little upset with me and stuff like that. And the video I made earlier this year was basically just me saying that those who warned me about diving into the Xbox ecosystem and saying, it wasn't a good platform, I was basically just saying, hey, you guys were right because the company has been making a lot of stupid decisions this year that have just been slowly leading to its downfall. And surprisingly, in that video, I gave a bunch of really solid examples with proof. There were still people, who were very against what I was saying. And here we are, fast forward several months later, the Xbox brand and ecosystem have gotten even worse. I do want those, who came at me in my previous video, I do want you to think really hard about the situation before, you decide to do it to me again in this video, if you happen to have watched my last video. So, for those who don't know, I was a die-hard Xbox fan, and I made the silly mistake of going all in for Xbox during the Xbox One generation. The generation where they made the big mistake and started their console off by saying it was, it had to be connected to the internet 24/7, needed a connect to run and all that crazy. Yeah, that generation. That's the generation I decided to go ham, egg, and cheese for Xbox. Don't ask me why I did that. It's like, no, ask me. I'm going to tell you. Because I believed in Phil Spencer's vision. Now, I started last generation on PlayStation. I didn't jump into Xbox until about late 2017. I was covering the MMO Skyforge, very hardcore at the time. Phil Spencer had just, became the new face of Xbox, and he had this big vision of making basically Xbox and Windows one platform. As a console MMORPG creator and lover, that sounded like heaven to me. A console that's going to be merged with PC. Yeah. That would make a lot of potential for, MMOs to come that direction. Or one would think. And don't get me wrong, guys. It started off hot and heavy. I don't know if y'all remember, but we got Phantasy Star first on Xbox. Black Desert came first to Xbox. Bless Unleashed came first to Xbox. It was hot and on fire for a while. And not to mention, there were a lot of cross-play games between Xbox and PC, that were just, really good and just showed, that the formula was working. I felt like Xbox was on the right track, and they were for a while. Their Xbox exclusives were, just Xbox and PC, which to me was fine. There were some people that, complained, oh, PC, get them too, but they're not really exclusive. And I'm just like, come on, guys. At the end of the day, Xbox is a Windows platform. So, whatever. For those who, who've been here for a while, you remember the arguments I made all the time. But, and keep in mind, during those days, Game Pass Ultimate was $12.99 a month. So you got the exclusives day one on Game Pass for $12.99 and those benefits. Xbox, yeah, they were the underdogs, but woo, baby, were they consumer friendly. And then, Phil Spencer was talking about buying studios. He was slowly buying companies and stuff like that. And it was looking like, some of the hottest games that were once third party were going to be Xbox exclusives. And those companies were also going to innovate and make their own special Xbox games. If he did everything right, technically, things like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Outer Worlds, and stuff like that, all should have been Xbox exclusive games. Now, would people have been pissed, because they were taken away from Sony and Nintendo platforms? Yes, but, that's why you buy studios, to make more games for your platforms, not to make them for everyone else's. They were buying Blizzard and everything like that, and Activision, and, it was just, woo, it was looking smooth sailing. But fast forward here to 2025, look what we got. They've bought up 1 billion studios, and they're releasing 1 billion games on everything, and they barely believe in their platform anymore. I got a question that I want to ask some diehard Xbox fans. Why do y'all believe so hard in this platform if the company doesn't? The company themselves, every single representative have said so much. We don't care about our console sales. The console is what drives your platform. They are saying in interviews, we don't care about the console sales. All right, those sales are the Xbox, what you represent. So if their company themselves are saying they don't care about that, why do you? And that's it's not a good thing. Do you see PlayStation and Nintendo talking about, yeah, we're not worried about hardware sales. They're flexing them hardware sales every chance they get. Microsoft's running around like, oh, everything's an Xbox. Yeah, in a internet-filled, cloud-infested world, of course you can go around and say that. PlayStation also has cloud gaming. Do you see them saying, oh, everything's a PlayStation? No. Gee, I wonder why. We are now in a world, nice 2025, where Game Pass Ultimate is now $30 a month, which is insane. Now, one could argue at the end of the day that Game Pass Ultimate, even at $30 a month, is still technically worth it because of, all the games they give you. Like, with the value you get with Game Pass, I'm not going to lie, the price sucks. But is $30 a month bad for all those games they give you? I'm just saying, there's a bunch of $60 and $70 games in Game Pass's catalog, for $30 a month. If you hadn't bought every single one of those games, it would cost you more than what Game Pass costs in a year. I'm sure. So technically, there's value there, but it's still a crap move. It's just, it sucks. And they're just slowly going more and more third party. They've canceled so many first party projects. I've lost, my beloved Perfect Dark, which was the main Xbox exclusive I was looking forward to. We barely have any news on Fable, which I'm sure Fable's still coming, and Fable's even being considered for PS5 now. Gears of War has come to PlayStation. The Halo remake has been announced for PlayStation. What does Xbox even offer anymore? And that's what I don't understand. How can people defend something that offers nothing? Like, it's literally down to, like, the only thing Xbox has different at this point is a UI and a controller shape. Other than that, there's nothing unique or tying you to the platform. Because, trust me, in the next 2 or 3 years, every experience that's on Xbox Series XS or Xbox One, you will be able to play on a PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, or PC. I guarantee you that. Outer Worlds 2, Towerborn, a lot of all these other games, and especially, you probably know they're coming to other platforms because a lot of their dev teams have went silent when you know they could be working on DLC and things like that. I'm sure a lot of these dev teams are preparing their PlayStation and Nintendo Switch versions. Games like Avowed, Towerborn, Outer Worlds 2. We already know that's already on PlayStation. We know that Switch 2 version's announcement is going to come anytime in 2026. I'm pretty certain. But and then this whole, rumor of a hybrid console thing, and they gave a handheld that's just, a hybrid that's technically doesn't even run Xbox games. It just runs Xbox Play Anywhere games because it's really nothing but a handheld PC with an Xbox logo. What? And it's $1,000. You can go get a Switch 2, which is on par with a Series S, for less than half of that price. Heck, I'll put one in the video description so that way, if anybody's interested in that, you have the option to go buy it right now through me. Shameless plug. Thank you for your support if you do buy one or happen to. I don't know. What this brand's just turned into is crazy. I love Xbox, man. I love what they were trying to become, but this ain't what I signed up for. And if you want to invest in Xbox in the future, I would do a lot of research and be very careful before you consider that, because there are two other amazing options for consoles out there, and that's PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch 2. Especially because, the Nintendo Switch 2 is technically Nintendo's next-gen console. That's their PlayStation 6 and Xbox whatever competitor. So there's technically a next-gen option out there already. I don't know. I'm just saying, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I know there's still going to be some people that give me flack, but this just, as an Xbox fan and, somebody who believed in it, this hurts. It bothers me. And that's why I wanted to express this to you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.